We've been going over healing stories from Jesus. This one, the blind man, hashtag our story. We all have a blind spot somewhere. And to really begin to look for that and then maybe transform it. So it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. The divine dip about asking for what we want, and we do receive it, and it's lifting in consciousness to knowing that we are one with anything we ask. And it's powerful for us to give ourselves a little opportunity to shift into a different level of consciousness. I want to share a poem with you, this from Spirit, and it kind of goes along with the divine dip, and it's for our service also, and it's called Ask. Oh, my soul, I want to know the wonders of this life. I know it's more than meets the eye, more than struggle and strife. Our blessings are all around us, there for all with eyes to see. Are we waiting for a wake-up call to be what we can be? True beauty lies within our heart, waiting to be freed. Dare we take a chance on love or chain ourselves to need? Love can mend a shattered heart, rebuild a broken bridge. With eyes of love, we see we are one. Illusion now is done. As we go through life, and we are blessed with all these experiences and opportunities, to really look at them as that, as experiences of opportunity to really grow. And the story today, the blind man, is a story, and it can be our story if we choose to look at it that way. And it's a beautiful story, and it's a story that can free us all. And this is chapter 138 in the Aquarian Gospel. And it's on the Sabbath day. Jesus does a lot of his work on the Sabbath day because that's when everybody's gathered. Usually they're marauding out in nomad land and being herders and gatherers. So everybody's there. So he has this opportunity to really share and demonstrate the love of God made manifest. So there he's with Peter, James, and John, and everything's symbolic, representative. Peter represents faith, James is wisdom, and John is love. Peter, James, and John, if you look at a lot of the stories in the Bible, Peter, James, and John are always with him. And this is symbolic of the Christ, Jesus the Christ, surrounding himself, the energy, with wisdom, faith, and love. It supports the Christ. Our wisdom can support our Christed nature. Our love can support our Christed nature. Our faith can support our Christed nature. So that's the energy he's always dealing with when he's talking to people or doing his work. So Peter, James, and John, as they walked along the way, they saw a man who could not see. He'd been born blind. So he's blind from birth. And Peter said, Lord, if these disease and imperfection are all caused by sin, who was the sinner in this case, the parents or the man himself? Now, just that statement, doesn't that open up a door to reincarnation? Yeah. Who was at fault? The man was born blind, so evidently he didn't do anything in this lifetime, or his parents. And what we begin to look at, we move through life in a group dynamic also. We have the opportunity to love and to support each other no matter where they are. But to look at that, because one of the beliefs here at InterQuest, we believe in reincarnation. And it's that opportunity to transform, to grow, to love. So to look at it like that. And Jesus said, afflictions all are partial payments on a debt, or debts that have been made. So affliction is a partial payment. He had to experience this blindness because of an act that he did in a previous lifetime. But just to experience your karma isn't really enough. It's to take that lesson and to begin to learn from it and then to grow with it and through it. That's why White Eagle often says, embrace your karma. Embrace your karma. Don't run from your karma, hide from your karma, or submit to your karma. Because your karma is a teacher. Our karma is a teacher. And to look at life like that. And when we look at the law of karma, right next to it is another law that we often miss or refuse to look at, and that's the law of opportunity. The law of opportunity. We've all heard the little bumper sticker, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. There it is. It's taken a situation and making the most of it, making something positive of it, grow from it. And this is what Jesus is going to be working with this. And the main thing that is we need to look at in the story is Jesus teaching. Jesus is teaching his disciples. They ask, they don't know. He's teaching the man, and he's teaching us to open us up to a more expanded life. There is such a thing as reincarnation. There is such a thing as karma. There is such a thing as opportunity. But the grandest gift is the gift of love, unconditional love. So afflictions, partial payments on a debt that we have incurred. There's a law of recompense that never fails and is summarized in the true rule of life. Whatsoever man does to any other man will be done to him. And we know that as do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that's the law of karma, cause and effect. We're putting out energy through a cause, and the effect comes back to us. That's a law of the universe. It's a beautiful law, and it isn't a law that punishes us. It's a law that reveals to us our truth, if we can see the opportunity in it. And then he goes, he who believes and does the will of God is the son of God by faith. And that's what we have to begin to understand and say. One time he's asked about the Son of God, and are you the only one? And Jesus said, all men, all women are sons of God by birth. To be a son or daughter of God by faith is to be aware of the truth of God and then come into alignment and to live that the best of our ability. And that's where that power of faith comes in. We're grounded in that energy. Now that faith supports us and even propels us to take the steps that would serve our soul, because we're on a soul journey through the process of reincarnation. Affliction's a limitation, and it could be anything like affliction, something that limits our ability to create or to deal with life the way that we would choose to deal with it. And so this man's affliction was blindness. So we could see how that could limit his life in that day and age, because a lot of times people that were afflicted with any kind of disease or infirmary were cast aside. There wasn't really a place for them, except being a beggar. So he was a beggar. Okay? Okay. This is really good. Where they had earlier said, who caused this sin? The blind man or the parents? And I think a great understanding that we can take, or a definition from sin, is to miss the mark. Sin is to miss the mark. Isn't that a lot easier than being punished for stupid stuff? To miss the mark. Sin, to miss the mark. So, and what is our mark but unconditional love? Our mark is unconditional. That's what we're all aiming for. And I think if I asked everyone, yeah, I want to be loving, I want to be loved, and I want to be loved, and all this good stuff, that's the mark we're aiming for. That's the target. Unconditional love. So, yes, the blind man missed the mark. His parents missed the mark. We have missed the mark. But it's not the end of the story. Because if we connect back with that love, unconditional love of the Christ, we can begin to understand how we're missing the mark and then take the steps to right our wrongs, to be positive. Karma, dharma. See, right action, positive action entered into our manifestation. So our karma is a reflection of a limiting thought uh, that's within us, and it's reflecting in the outer. And so to not kill the messenger, but to look at it, okay, and then go a little deeper. You know, the blind man, his name was Job, and if you do any studying in the Bible, there's a good story about Job in the Bible, and he has to go through all sorts of trials and tribulations before he understands what his relationship to God is all about. So here's this man born blind, and I don't know if he's 20 years old, 30 years old, or what, but he's sitting on the road begging. So I'm just thinking that he has a lot of time for introspection, and maybe even ask God, why is this happening to me? What did I do? Has anybody asked that? What did I do to deserve this? Y'all have, okay? Sorry. So he's sitting in the darkness, okay, and asking. He's opening up his heart. And you know, asking you shall receive, just like the divine dip, just like the prayer, ask. You know, what creates a lot of our disease, infirmities, stuff is separation. We separate from God, we separate from one another. That's in our head because we're all love. We are all that one energy of love. So that's how we miss the mark, okay? So karma is our judgment or perception of our activities, and we need to be aware of it to release the judgment. And judgment creates separation. Judgment creates separations. So we can look at the karma. How is this separating me from life? How is this separating me from my brothers and sisters? How is this separating me from God? There's a lot of people on the planet that blame God for the troubles in their lives. How could God let this happen? Not even ours, but how could God let that little child suffer? How could God do this? They blame God, so God's not very high on their pecking order. Once we begin to understand reincarnation, how souls come, choose experiences to grow through karma, do you see? To transmute it, to make lemonade. So to begin to look at what judgments am I holding that are separating me from anything? And it's that inner work that we have to participate in that will reveal to us what really will free us from ourselves. The blind man, here it says, this tells about him. The blind man plucked out the eyes of another person. So he had to come back blind. It's kind of like that karmic retribution, okay? And well, what would be a faulty thought about that? Perhaps he was in his will, he was right, the person didn't know what they were saying. Maybe he didn't understand the way the person was seeing life. Maybe he didn't understand the way he was seeing life. And so it was a reactionary to take the sight, the vision from another person. Do unto others, it will be done unto you. So he's brought back, reborn into another lifetime, blind, okay? This is the karmic pattern that he's got created. But really, the blindness is an infirmity and a symptom. The faulty thought could be, my will is greater than anyone else's. Or judging someone as less than, not deserving. They're not deserving of this. So I'm going to take it away. And that is separation. We are all one. We all have the same blessing and opportunity in life. To begin to give that to one another is really powerful. It's really, really neat to look at it like that. The story I missed it last time. Here it says, once in a life he was a cruel man, and in a cruel way he destroyed the eyes of his fellow man. Once in his lifetime, his parents turned away a blind person from their door who needed food and maybe shelter or something like that. So he's creating separation through his actions. They are creating separation through their actions. And maybe they didn't allow that person, they didn't really see the needs of that person. They were looking at their own needs. They were looking at their own outer world, and allowing that to control them. And a word we might use when people look at that outer way of doing things is status quo. To look at the status quo. What would it look like if I do not align with the status quo? And this happens throughout life. This is the journey of life that we're on. And until we finally take a moment to take a breath and understand what's really important here, is love more important than the status quo? And when our answer begins to be yes, the transformation can truly begin. And so Peter says to him, when we cure someone, do we take their debts away? You see? If we make this man get his vision back, do we take his debts away? Okay? And this is what Jesus says, because everybody wants to be saved, don't you? Y'all want to say I'll save you. No. This is Jesus' teaching. We cannot pay the debts of any man. By the word we may release a man from his afflictions and distress, and make him free, that he may pay the debt he owes, by giving up his life in willing sacrifice for men or other living things. Behold, we may make free this man, that he may better serve the race of man. So, in all of his healing stories, he healed them. And a lot of times you say, your sins are healed, go and sin no more. You're healed, go and sin no more. And what he was saying is, don't go back thinking the way you were thinking, acting the way you were acting. Change. And so we can unlock that prison door of blindness, or any other, or diabetes, or any infirmity that the multitude on this planet have. So to free them from that prison so that they can deal with their karma at maybe a higher level with greater understanding. That's the gift of the Christ, to be able to see, yes, we are responsible. It's a hard one for people. We are responsible. We can't blame anyone else. We are responsible. What thoughts am I holding? What beliefs am I holding? Well, how am I living? That is creating that and sustaining that. So Jesus is saying, we're not releasing them from the debt. We're going to make them pay the debt easier. We're going to make them participate in life to serve our brother man. And one thing about service is there's no separation in service, because you begin to understand oneness. And that's what frees us. That's what unlocks that prison door of selfishness to allow us to move into selflessness. So, we can make him free, so he can pay his debts in another way, in service to the mankind. Then Jesus called the man and said, would you be free? See, would you be free from your faulty thoughts, beliefs, patterns that you're holding? Would you be free of that? Would you receive your sight, the ability to see, to understand? And the man replied, all that I have, I would most freely give if I could see. And so, what did this blind man really have to give? But his beliefs or misbeliefs, his understanding, her misunderstanding, to give up everything that he held on a physical human level, because he was poor, he was begging. He didn't have a bunch of the worldly stuff. I'll give you all that I have. And aren't our beliefs important to us? Aren't they precious to us? I'm ready to let that go. I'm ready to let that go. But our beliefs are colored by our experiences that we've had through many, many lifetimes. Not just this lifetime. So this lifetime is so to be here now, to be awake now, to let go of what needs to be let go of now so that I can continue my journey forward, expanding in my soul journey. And that's very cool. I would most freely give if I could see. And Jesus took saliva and a bit of clay, made it, and put it on his eyes. And he spoke the word, and he said, go to Siloam and wash. And as you wash, say, Yahavahi, this 7 times, and you shall see. And so the guy did that, okay? And to begin to look at like that, all of us have the Christ within us. All are connected with God. We're not separate from God. So when Jesus said to him, would you be healed? Would you receive your sight? And the man says yes. So he entrains to Jesus now. He entrains to a higher frequency. He is not making himself see. He's connecting with the Christ, that higher God love. He's connecting with that. He connects with it, then he aligns with it. Yeah, I'll give everything to have this. And that's synchronized. He's coming to synchronization with the whole healing process that's taking place for now. And then he, holding the faith, and how he believed and held the faith, is he went to that fountain and washed his eyes out and said that sacred word 7 times. Resonance, resonance, resonance. And then through that, holding that faith, this synergy occurred where he could see. And all of us, like in the divine, if you would be healed, okay, to become aware of an infirmity, affliction, whatever we might have, I'm ready to let that go. I ask that I be freed from this affliction. But who do we want to ask? We want to ask that higher Christ energy, God energy, that pure love. We're going to go to that level, and we're going to entrain to that. And then we're going to ask for clarity, and we'll get clarity, and then we'll get to follow the guidance that we get. And if it means letting go of something or giving up something, shifting, changing, that's what we have to do to effect our own healing. See, we have to effect our own healing. We can align with the higher frequencies which are within us, and that's what makes us strong. You know, when we have a disease or illness within our body or organs, it's the absence of love. The absence of love. Because love is whole, complete, and perfect, that God love. And so we want to align with that love and bring that into our body, and with conscious mind participation. And this is all of our story. All of us are missing the mark somewhere. And if we go within, we'll get clarity on it. And we'll get a little bit of guidance to take a step or do something. And as we follow that in faith, see, we want to take Peter, James, and John with us. We want to take faith, wisdom, and love with us in our journey through life. Not just healing, in our journey through life. And transformation occurs. Transformation occurs. And it's really a powerful story. And like I said, it's our story. We can do this. We can do this. But we have to let go of the status quo also. Because it is possible where the status quo says it isn't. Okay. The people who had seen the man for many years sit by the way and beg, they were surprised to see him see. For years, they'd seen him by the side of the road just begging. They knew he was blind from birth. And they said, is this the man, Job, that was born blind, who sat by the way and begged? Heard them talk among themselves and said, yes, I'm he. I am he. And the people asked, how were you healed? Who opened up your eyes? And he said, a man whom men called Jesus made a salve of clay and put it on my eyes, and he made me say a word and wash in Siloam 7 times. I did as he commanded me, and now I see. I followed the guidance. I followed the guidance, and that's from within the heart. A certain scribe was passing, and he saw the man and heard him say that Jesus, by the word, had opened his eyes. He therefore took the man to the synagogue and told the story to the priests, who asked the man about his miracle. So now we're going to go to status quo. Okay? We're going to go to status quo. And this is a story that gets a little more rich. How's that? And he told the story to the priest, who asked the man about the miracle. The man replied, I never saw the light until today, for I was blind from birth. This morning, as I sat beside Siloam, a man I never knew, put on my eyes a salve that people say he made of clay. He made me say a word and bathed my eyes in the water 7 times. I did as he commanded, and I saw. And you see, he repeats his story. He tells them, he's starting to own in consciousness, and this is what it's all about. To own in consciousness allows us to transcend, allowing us to master matter. So sometimes it's okay to say that story, that positive affirmation story. Yes, I was blind, but now I see. Yea, God. And a lawyer asked the man, this is, okay. Who was it that opened up your eyes? The man replied, some say his name was Jesus and that he came from Galilee, and others say he is the Son of God. Jesus began his mission with the postulate to teach his people, the Jewish people, the Hebrew nation. His postulate was, love is Son of God. Love is Son of God. That's his postulate. And that's what I meant. But others say he is the Son of God. Love. Love. So we take love and allow love to move through our body, mind, spirit, our matrix in consciousness, our 7 bodies or 64 levels, whatever we want to go to. But allowing love, aligning with love, it's powerful because that's where the transformation takes place. A Pharisee came up and said, this is a Sabbath day. A man who does the work on the Sabbath day, not regarding the Sabbath day, is not from God. Status quo. Can't do it on the Sabbath. Not supposed to do anything on the Sabbath. And this was what got Jesus in trouble all the time. He had the people then, but he was aligning with and demonstrating a higher law. Where status quo, they're really good with the letter of the law. Well, it says this. Got to do this. It doesn't feel right. That hurts. No. We're at a time on planet Earth where people are really beginning to question status quo. It's not a bad thing. It's rocking the boat. And what we have to do is just to hold that truth within our hearts, to be the love of God, to be the light of God, not worry about anything else, to be that, express that, manifest that, hold that frequency, and that's the Word of God made manifest. It's our life in demonstration. Some of the priests were much amazed and said, a wicked man could never do a miracle like this. He must possess the power of God. And so they strove among themselves. So now the debate begins. It's like, man, this guy's got some power. He's got to be from God. To heal man blind from birth, he must be wicked. You see, status quo. And this is that polarity and duality we play in every day. And that's why it's so important for us to get in touch with our heart. There's our truth meter. We go within and ask, you'll get a nod, you'll get the truth, you'll get the yes, you'll get the no. But that's where we want to go. We don't want to go here. This is programmed with status quo. Shoulds, can't, have tos. Even what love is and what love isn't. This is the truth within our hearts. They asked a man, what do you think about this man from Galilee? He said, he's a prophet sent from God. See? His inner seeing and knowing he could really see who Jesus was. When he plucked out the eyes of the man in his past lifetime, he didn't see who that man was. He was blind when he did that. He did not recognize and accept the oneness of brotherhood. We are one. And now he's speaking. No, he didn't care what was going to happen to him. He was blind and now he sees. He knows. He knows his truth. He's a prophet sent from God. Now many of the Jews did not believe the man was blind from birth, and then they said, there is no power to open up the eyes of one born blind. So then they brought the parents as witnesses. And they come and they say, yes, he was born blind. But he wouldn't answer any more questions. Didn't want to talk about Jesus, anything. All we know is he's of age. Let him tell you what happened. Once again, bowing to an outer authority. The temple was their life. Did you see? The status quo of the temple, the rules, the regulations of the temple. That was more important. They knew what happened. But they couldn't stand up and say, even if they said, I don't know, but I'm saying this guy is from God. Because who could do this? But how often are we silent in the face of status quo, in the face of the outer world, the opinions, the rules, the laws, the judgments? And so when they turned going back, the blind man away from their front door, they didn't see the blind man, and for some reason, it was maybe below their stature to let him come into their house. To not be able to understand the blessing and opportunity that life is. Job took his opportunity, his karma, and allowed the transformation of Christ's love to present more opportunities in his life. And if it was just recognizing and speaking the truth of what he knew, maybe didn't understand, but knew. And then the parents had the opportunity of standing forth and saying, yes, this is our son, we're so happy you can see, and bless this guy that did it. Even if you guys don't believe it, but they would have been kicked out, you see? And this is the way life is. We allow the outer to control or dim our inner light too often. To begin to allow that light to grow and radiate out, and just to be who we are. You know, to take no thought, that's what that, when Jesus said, take no thought what you're to say. If you come from your heart, the words are going to be perfect, and the words will be understood on some level. So it's really neat to look at it like Job saw the truth in Jesus' actions, and he was not afraid. He saw clearly. This was his shift in consciousness. When he was being grilled by the priests and the Pharisees about what happened, who are you, what is it, and everything, he owned it in consciousness. He owned this truth in consciousness. He owned his truth. He transformed. He got it at that moment in time because he lived it. He spoke what he saw, and even beyond what he saw. And that's what it is. We cannot take away the karma of another, but we can help them to solve it, understand it, and transmute it in an easier way, in an easier vehicle. And so him just standing forth, that was real powerful to stand forth in his truth now, his true truth. And it was an internal knowing. He owned his healing. And that's what, when Jesus said, go and sin no more, don't keep acting the way you're acting, don't keep thinking the way you're thinking. When you shift that and maybe introduce a new thought, a new belief, a new level of consciousness, you own. Now you can own the healing. And we go through healings every day on all levels, physical, mental, emotional, financial. new levels of understanding, new laws that operate. Higher laws are in operation. And once we can begin to understand that there are higher laws in operation, then we can go to those higher laws, connect. But just like Jesus, connect with that divinity, connect with the Christ within all. Align with that, harmonize with that, allow synergy to affect that change and transformation in our life. Job held to the clarity of life. No one was going to take it away from him. And you know what? It didn't matter what the grief they were giving him and everything. He held strong in his truth, and because he could see. And now he must go to serve man. And just like I said, this is our story. We have blind spots in our life, and we have blind spots that we even see, but we don't attempt to do anything with. As White Eagle says, embrace your karma. Don't just resign yourself to karma. When you resign yourself to karma, round and round you go, and where it stops, nobody knows. There's one way unto the Father to get off the wheel of karma and reincarnation: love. No man cometh unto the Father but through me, Jesus the Christ. The love of God made manifest. These things I do, you shall do these and greater. The love of God's within all of our hearts. The love of God's within all of our hearts. These things, whatever was done, we can do these and greater. It's giving ourselves permission and then to speak that truth. How old are you? I'm eternal. You're going to get some looks on that one. It's the truth, though. You see? It's the truth. But it's easier for us we'll put a label or something, and then, we fix that in our mind because we've been programmed to certain ages and sex and all that good stuff. To transcend that now. Let's all transcend. This is our job on planet Earth this lifetime, is to transcend. And we have the tools now, and we have the consciousness now, and we have the support now to do that. And we're just so glad y'all come on Sunday, because the energy that's created is really synergy, and it really goes out in multiple ways that we don't even know. But it's coming together in one accord, love, okay? The love of God, the love within each heart. And then to share that love with one another through our singing, laughing, joking, it just expands it even more. And it's a simple way of transformation. And it's available to us every day. Let's go within. And as you go within, just breathe. Breathe and take your awareness to your heart center. And as you breathe, just be aware of your body energy. How do you feel? How does your body feel? Feel your energy, your unique vibration. Just breathe. Ask to feel God's love. I ask to feel your love, Father. Ask to feel God's love. And within God's love is all. And it's in this consciousness of God's love in all. If you have a question, a prayer that you seek guidance in, ask in this consciousness, in the consciousness of God. Ask, ask, ask. And then accept, accept, accept. And now be. 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 Take a breath. In your heart, say, thank you, God. And just gently open your eyes. The blind man. Hashtag our story. Ask and you shall receive. Yeah, God.